Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had to balance school, sports, friends, family, maybe even a job all at the same time? You can only imagine how stressful that can get and how much pressure that puts on these young kids that are trying to achieve their dream. Student athletes all over the country deal with mental health issues, but instead of reaching out for help, they bottle it in to portray the image of becoming strong. Things need to change, and they need to change soon. We have lost too many young kids in the past years due to these issues, and we can't handle lose anymore. According to an article written by NCAA, it states that 38% of women college athletes with mental health issues and 22% of men college athletes also deal with mental health issues. But those numbers are the only ones that have been recorded. As a student athlete myself, I can personally say that about 90% of the other athletes that I've met and I've talked to have said that they've dealt with mental health issues but are too afraid to reach out. The common stereotype for student athletes is you have to be strong, you have to balance all this stuff, and people look at you and they go, that person is strong. What these people never see though is that the late nights, studying, and the late nights, at the field or in the facilities or on the court or whatever the deal is. And then the next day you have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and start it all over again. I mean, as it's like a snowball effect. As it goes on, you just continue and it just adds more pressure to you. And for these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, it just builds pressure, and a lot of the times, people don't really know how to handle it, and they don't know who to reach out to, because a lot of times it's the coaches that cause the pressure, and they don't want to really reach out to the coach and put their guards down, and they don't want to reach out to their parents either because they don't want to let their parents down. So an article written by the Washington Post on May 20th, 2022, it stated that at least 5 college athletes took their own life, and that was in May of 2022. That was 5 months into 2022. And that, when will enough be enough? That's all I'm saying, is when will enough be enough? Because if 5 college athletes, and these are young adults, these are 18, 19, 20-year-olds taking their own life, and it's only 5 months into 2022. Like, how many more, And that's kind of a sad analogy to think of it, but how many more will it take for people to start realizing it? It's kind of sad that these young adults grew up dreaming about playing their respective sports, and they grew up and, like I said before, I'm a student athlete. I play baseball here at Owens Community College, and, I've definitely dealt with mental health issues and stuff, and I didn't know who to reach out to. You don't want to reach out to your parents because you're scared that you'd be letting them down, and you don't want to reach out to your coaches because you're scared you're letting them down too, and, so I know for me, one of the top things that I did, I started journaling. I went to the grocery store and I bought a notebook, and every single day I wrote down like the good things that happened and the bad things that happened. And I started talking to my mom more, and my coach and stuff like that. But at first it was just journal, me and that journal. And I remember I used to have a coach. He was one of my pitching coaches in high school, and he's actually a pitching coach at Lourdes University now. And he said that when he got hired at Lourdes, that one of the top things that he tried to do was spend 30 minutes a week with each of his athletes. And he had about 40 pitchers on his roster, and he would try to spend 30. And if it was like to go to the mall, he would go to the mall with them. If it was go to coffee shop, he would go to the coffee shop with them. And it was just to get their mind off baseball. And he said the only rules is that you couldn't talk about the teammates, you couldn't talk about coaches, and that was it. And you could only talk to him about baseball, or everything but baseball. If it was your girlfriend, your parents, or whatever, because a lot of the time people really don't have other people to talk to them about. A quote that he said, these conversations have nothing to do with baseball or pitching. He said that he always wanted to see how his athletes were doing off the field, because as a former college player, he knew what it felt like to be alone and feel like there was absolutely nobody to talk to. So, as a college athlete, it can be very stressful. An article written by the Post, it says that the NCAA are now quote unquote, requiring schools to provide mental health services to athletes. Now, I have a couple buddies that play NCAA baseball, and from what I've talked to them, they've said, we haven't heard anything about it. We don't know anything about this. So I kind of feel like, mental health kind of gets pushed under the rug a little bit for college athletes, and because they have that common stereotype of being strong, of being, just like, you signed up for this, you got to deal with the consequences that come with it. But I mean, it does kind of get pushed under the rug, and definitely a change needs to be made with this, and it needs to happen now, because like the article said, in May, 5 people already took their lives. That cannot keep happening. It's like a snowball effect that cannot just keep happening. So yeah, that's the end of the informative speech by Eric Perriott. And yeah, this is why mental health needs to be taken more seriously at the college level.